So today, we're going to dig into one of the most baffling unsolved cases in the history of the U.S. National Park Service, the disappearance of Dennis Martin. And to do it, we're going straight to the source, the official day-by-day narrative from the NPS case file itself.
This right here, this is Dennis Lloyd Martin. Back on Father's Day weekend in 1969, he was playing in a meadow in the Great Smoky Mountains, and he just vanished. What happened next was one of the biggest search and rescue operations the park had ever seen, and it kicked off a mystery that, honestly, is still completely unsolved today.
And this line? This is the line that defines the entire story. It's pulled directly from the reward poster they issued after the search, so you know the outcome right from the jump. The real question isn't what happened in the end, but how. How, after this absolutely massive effort, was nothing, literally nothing, ever found?
Okay, so let's set the scene. It's Saturday, June 14th, 1969. The Martin family. You've got Dennis, his older brother Douglas, his dad Bill, and his grandfather Clyde. They're all up at a spot called Spence Field. It's this beautiful, big, grassy meadow way up high on the Appalachian Trail. The official file tells us Dennis was last seen at around 4:30 in the afternoon, and he was just a normal kid dressed for a day in the mountains, wearing a red t-shirt, green trousers, and these simple, low-cut Oxford shoes. And the way he disappeared? It's shockingly simple. The boys decide to play a classic prank, right? Sneak up and surprise the grown-ups. So Dennis's brother and a couple other kids went one way, and Dennis, he went the other way, into the brush to try and circle around them. It was just an innocent little game. But things went wrong with terrifying speed. The case file says that within just 3 to 5 minutes, that's it, of the boys splitting up, his father, Bill Martin, got a bad feeling and started calling for him. No answer. So he immediately starts searching, literally running 2.5 miles down a trail and back. The alarm was raised almost instantly.
So as evening starts to set in and their own frantic searches are turning up absolutely nothing, the family knows they need help. Dennis's grandfather has to hike all the way down out of the mountains to the Cades Cove Ranger Station to officially report his grandson missing. The official incident report gets filed at 8:28 p.m. The big National Park Service machine starts to turn. But at the exact same time, a brutal force of nature is just descending on the whole area. The case file notes heavy rainstorms and thunder showers, something like 2.5 inches of rain. Every single stream becomes this raging, dangerous torrent. It not only made a search that night impossible, but it almost certainly washed away any track, any footprint, any trace the boy might have left behind.
Still, despite that storm, the chief ranger immediately starts laying out a pretty substantial plan for the morning. He's organizing multiple crews, a base camp, and he's already calling for a helicopter. Right from the start, this was not going to be a small operation.
But that initial plan for Sunday morning? Oh, that was just the beginning. Over the next few days, what assembled in the Great Smoky Mountains was, well, it was less a search party and more like an army.
The call goes out and help just starts pouring in. The first group to get sent to the area? Get this, 51 ranger students from a junior college in Florida. They just happened to be on a field trip nearby.
And then things escalated big time. The U.S. Forest Service gets in touch with a Colonel Kinney, who commands special forces in the area. Permission is granted, and boom, 40 Green Berets from Fort Bragg are on their way. This tells you just how seriously this was being taken. I mean, this is a level of response you just don't see for a missing person case.
So by Monday, June 16th, we're just over 36 hours since Dennis disappeared. The total force on the ground is now 300 people. You've got Park Service personnel, multiple county rescue squads, the Air National Guard, and volunteers. And it was still growing.
With zero clues and the clock just ticking louder and louder, the whole strategy shifted. The goal became total, absolute saturation of the search area. They weren't just looking anymore, they were going to overwhelm the mountain with manpower. You can just feel the desperation growing.
This chart, using data from the case file, just shows you how incredible the buildup was. By Wednesday, it's 365 people. By Friday, that more than doubles to 780. And then on Saturday, exactly 1 week after Dennis vanished, the effort hits its absolute peak.
1,400 people. Just think about that. A staggering number of searchers, all mobilized on a single day. This is the National Guard, Special Forces, rescue squads from multiple states, the Red Cross, Boy Scouts, and hundreds of civilian volunteers, all combing this rugged, unforgiving terrain. And the crucial point is this wasn't just chaos, it was organized. The official file for that day states, and I'm quoting here,
A 1-mile radius around Spence Field had been completely saturated by today, also all immediate and logical ridgetops. Every logical path had been covered and then recovered.
So, this brings us to the absolute core of the mystery. After this unprecedented mobilization of manpower, after deploying helicopters, ground troops, expert trackers, after combing through 56 square miles of wilderness, what did they find? A shoe? A piece of his red shirt? A footprint? Anything?
Nothing. The case file is just chillingly clear on this. In the section detailing the search coverage, it states simply, nothing at all had been found. No trace. No sign. It was as if the boy had just, literally, vanished into thin air.
You know, after that peak effort on June 21st turned up nothing, the reality really began to set in. You just can't sustain an operation of that magnitude forever, especially when you have zero results. The entire tone of the search, and of the official reports, starts to shift.
The massive operation just de-escalated, and fast. Just 2 days after that peak effort, volunteer numbers dropped way off. By the middle of the week, the Green Berets were leaving. Most of the helicopters were gone. And by the following Sunday, the NPS officially proposed scaling the whole search back to a maintenance basis.
And in the aftermath, everyone was just left holding questions. They had a conference with an FBI agent who basically concluded that without any evidence of a crime, like a ransom note or something, they couldn't launch a full-scale kidnapping investigation. The family started talking about offering a reward, and the Park Service, to their credit, they assured the Martins they weren't giving up completely, promising to keep a small team of their best men on the case for months if they had to.
And that brings us right back to where we started. The family did offer that reward, $5,000. But in the more than 50 years since that day at Spence Field, no credible information has ever surfaced. No trace of Dennis Martin has ever been found. The reward has never been claimed, leaving only this haunting question. How does a 7-year-old boy, in a matter of minutes, simply vanish?